right, and we're back for another week of the weekly burn, and I'm feeling a lot of burn in my shoulder and neck
They
and
have a
everything
shot
else.
for that, you know.
It, that's fair. That that's totally fair, I think. So, anyways, I'm your boy Knight. With me, the world famous Daddy Bro 72.
Famous,
Yeah,
infamous is more like.
infamous. That's probably better. Yeah, it works. Um, and we are going to be talking about a couple things D&D related. Um, he doesn't really care for Baldur's Gate, which I don't blame him for the first couple, but third one is
Nope, but that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
We can agree to disagree.
yeah. Well, I mean, once
I
you,
have an explanation for why I hate it so much.
it'll be a good one, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Knowing you.
Well, some of us
Anyways, so
more time than brains.
we'll do that, and then let's talk about a little bit about VA, like some of the do's and don'ts that we both have come across in the past. And my dogs are going to destroy the table,
That could be bad.
right?
Mm.
Just about knocked everything off of it. Okay, so any hoots, how you doing though, brother?
What up?
You ready?
I'm always ready.
Fantastic. All right, I'm
It's Navy way, baby.
yeah,
Woo!
yeah, fair enough. So yeah, talk to me. Tell me about why you what it is about Baldur's Gate that
So to me, and maybe I'm just being silly and my typical overbearing self, Baldur's Gate reminds me of Diablo, and I hate that game.
yeah
I hated it I remember back in the day when I was, a young man in the military and going to the computer banks at the resource center to
yeah
play video games with all the other young bucks. Everybody and their mother wanted to play Diablo.
yeah I remember
Why? Because it's mindless.
that.
Find target, kill target, move to next target. Really? That's the best you can do?
Waste time, waste money, waste
Shooter looter, boring. There's no plot, there's no subtext to it. It's just, you build a character, and if you build it, and now the thing is, I'll give Baldur's Gate this. They've gotten a little bit better over time. 3 is definitely better than the first 2. But it's the same concept thing. It's old, it's been played out, and I just don't like it. And what's worse is Baldur's Gate, the concept of Baldur's Gate. I love that concept. That's a great storyline.
Yeah.
But where's the I don't know. I guess I'm overly touchy about it. I don't know.
So okay, and that's fair. Like I can agree with you on some of that, because like the first Baldur's Gate was a lot like Diablo.
Yep.
And I'm not a Diablo fan either. Like I'm not a fan of the just rinse and repeat, constantly do it over and over again until you reach a somewhat end of the game, just to start over and do it all over again.
Yep.
Like to me, I think it's
boring.
Yeah, but it's
Kinda
boring.
dumb.
But then, like, give me some kind of context of, like, add some depth to it.
Right.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like fun at all. So,
like you remember the game Wizardry or Bard's Tale?
Oh god, yeah, Bard's Tale was fantastic.
That's a great game, and we played on these little garbage computers, and you actually had to read. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
They got teenage boys especially to read,
right?
because you had to go through the different trials and stuff. At least there you had a plethora of characters. You really had to strategically think about your setup, right? And yeah, you fought a lot of mindless fights, like the barbarian hordes, right? Where you go to make all the levels.
Yeah.
You go hang out in that. I can't remember the name of the place, but you go hang out in that one area, and you just shoot them with dragon's breath like for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just, to me, it hurt. It's a mindless thing, and I hate that. I get bored with, especially when you pay as much as you do for video games like that.
Right. Yeah, especially Diablo. Diablo is expensive though.
Yeah, it's stupid expensive for what you get.
Yeah, to do the same thing over and
Yeah,
over.
it's literally the same trial over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And it gets so boring. You find the pattern, and then you're there. That's it.
Yep. Essentially, all you're doing at that point is just, oh, I got this gear,
Yeah.
and that's it. Like that's the end of the game. Like, oh, I got this gear.
I even go so far as to say one of my personal favorites of all time things was Gauntlet.
Gauntlet was good.
One of
Gauntlet
my
was good.
favorite arcade games of all time.
Yeah.
You remember when I was a kid, me and my buddy would go down to the Jersey Shore. We'd each bring a bag of quarters, and we would spend the day there and run that whole game.
Yep. Yep.
And I love it. I love that game, but it's the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, and you can only play that for so long, and then you kind of grow out of it, I think. And that's pretty much where I am with games like Diablo and Baldur's Gate, because they get boring.
What about Warcraft?
See, now Warcraft's different, right?
Uh-huh.
It comes down to two things with Warcraft. Are you playing solo or are you clanning up? Because I don't clan.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it way hard. You ever try to do one of those raids by yourself? I have. Got 10 hours. You got 10 hours? Because that's what it takes. Yeah, Leroy Jenkins for real.
Yeah.
I've done it. It's not a pleasant experience.
Right.
But you can. It's not advisable, and you better know what you're doing. You better be leveled up too, because if you're not, boy, your life's going to be hard.
That's fair.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying there.
See, one of my favorite ones though was actually Dragon Age.
Oh, I remember that game. That game was fun.
Yeah, my ultimate goal in Dragon Age was always to try to like get a relationship with like one of the hot NPCs. You're like, yeah, this is gonna happen. I'm gonna marry this one.
You need help, bro.
Hey, it was a thing.
Yeah,
it's a driving factor. But the game at least had like content. Like you had stuff that you could do.
Yeah, and that's my problem with a lot of these shooter looter games. That just now I'll give credit where it's due. Again, Destiny's a good example of this. Destiny has a fantastic backstory. It's a shooter looter.
Mm-hmm.
And the worlds they're not all the same. They got mechanics that are a little bit different here and there. The big thing is, getting into those fights and finding the legendary weapons.
Right.
Now, once you get up to the legendary weapons, it gets a little over boring, I think. But once you level to a certain point, it's kind of dumb, I think. But at least you're getting the play, right?
Right.
And the fights, if you're one of those people who likes to get it on with other humans, and basically fight it out in those little team fights, those are fantastic.
A little PvP action.
I do too, a little bit.
Yeah.
The problem I get in, they like to talk too much, and then I want to have to go visit them.
You sound like me.
You can talk all you want, but you better back it up.
Yeah, right.
If not, I might have to get on a plane.
Right, exactly. No, and so then what about there was another one that I was going to talk about though too. That falls right in line with this. Because there was Baldur's Gate. Icewind Dale. Did you ever play that?
I know the trilogy. I know the story, obviously, because I'm a Dritz fan. But no, I've never played.
Yeah, no, it was a good one. There was Icewind Dale. Oh, and then I know Elden Ring. Elden Ring follows a lot of D&D.
Yeah.
That's a
Skyrim stuff.
Yeah, Skyrim.
I love Skyrim.
Yeah.
But Skyrim's different, right? You're playing by yourself, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
You can clan up with different groups. The assassins, the Brotherhood's assassins, yeah. The Brotherhood is fantastic. I dig being an assassin. That's a good time. But and you got to make you make choices that decide things, and you can kind of cheese it a little bit too if you want to.
Right.
You join the Thief's Guild and really have a good time.
Yeah. That's
and
true.
It's not exactly a boring map. You're not stuck in one place. You're not really dungeon crawling either in Skyrim. The whole map is basically a giant dungeon. And Come on, man, who doesn't want to beat a dragon with a voice chant thing? Hit him with a thum. Wham.
Yeah. hit him with the boom.
Yeah, you really want to get hardcore in Skyrim. Try playing it where you're a magic user and all you can use is magic.
Yeah,
Do it.
yeah, that's true.
I dare you. It sucks.
Yeah, talk about
I
difficult.
struggled mightily to do that. And I mean, who can yeah, there's some really cheesy weird things that happen in Skyrim, but it's a fantastic game.
Yeah,
And they've added some stuff to that recently, I think. Or
I
not
believe,
super recent, but
I believe they actually did though. Honestly, I think they updated a couple things.
what's ironic about Skyrim is the fact that there are so many mods made for that game.
Oh
The
yes,
player base loves that game. They absolutely love it,
yep,
which I think is another indication that it's a good game, right? And
yep.
I'm not going to sit here and lie and say Baldur's Gate's not popular because it obviously is.
Hmm.
I, for one, don't know why. I personally don't like, and I get into this fight with people I work with that are big time nerdy gamers too. They're like, "What's wrong with you? How can you not like Baldur's Gate?" It's pretty simple. I don't like Diablo, and then that's a cardinal sin. They're like, "You can't not like Diablo," and I'm like, "Actually, I can because it's
Oh
a horrible game."
yeah, the game design. Whoever thought of that. I mean, I'm sure at the time it was like spot on. It was great.
Yeah.
I beg to differ, but that's just me. Like if you want a game with context, that, here's a good one though.
Hmm.
I'm a BattleTech fan, so Mech Commander came out.
Right.
Oh my god, that game, and it has lore and everything else to it to go back and follow. It's
Right.
fantastic. It's just
And
a
I don't,
good game.
I don't have problem with games like that where you got to learn a skill set or you can acquire a skill set or
Hmm.
there's an upgrade system to it that makes kind of sense.
Yeah.
A lot of these shoot-a-looters though, they don't do that. They just
Well,
go find target, kill target, move to next target, and I hate
yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
I got so burned out on Call of Duty, and it hurt
So,
my brain. I couldn't.
um, but yeah, World of Warcraft. One of the that was one of my all-time favorites. And then they came out with da, 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 da,
Well,
Hell.
they got done with WoW though too.
Yeah, they did.
They
They
did the
did.
panda thing, and I'm like, really? Come on.
I think it was before the panda thing for me. Like before, because
Yeah.
it essentially turned into you're doing the same thing 90 times over just to get to level 40. And then you're doing the same thing to go from level 40 to level 50.
Right.
And nothing changed. And you're like,
It
so what
gets
am I
repetitive.
paying? Yeah, what am I
Exa
paying extra for?
exactly. And not only that, have you ever seen the South Park that makes fun of World of Warcraft?
No,
Where
no, I
they do
haven't.
this thing where they find this ultimate weapon and stuff. It is so funny because they start out killing pigs on level 1,
Yeah.
and they just sit there and farm pigs for like 4 hours. And I'm like, that is so the game,
That is the game.
you know? And they're totally ripping these guys up. And it's well deserved. It's well deserved
Yeah.
because, you should put a little bit more thought into your games. And
Yeah.
I have always struggled with AAA game companies because I hate when I pay $80 or whatever it is for a really good game or supposedly good game, and then I get that kind of stuff.
Right.
I hate
Right.
that. Like,
Exactly.
I was a big fan of the Assassin's Creed, right? Black Flag specifically.
Black Flag was phenomenal.
Oh, are you kidding?
That
The
that was great.
just the music in that game is awesome.
Well, and then the very next one was the native one though, right?
Yep.
That-
Yep.
And I loved that one too. Like that
Well, that kind of hits home for you probably.
yeah, that one does. But
Yeah. I
the
get it. I
the
totally get that.
Black Flag and then that native one, I was like, hell yes.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah.
And the thing about Assassin's Creed is it repetitive? Sure. And you do a lot of the same it's a lot of back and forth, right?
Right.
I don't have a problem with that because you do it in WoW. You go
Mhm.
somewhere, you get a quest or you get a side quest, and you got to go here and you got to come back and forth. And okay, fine. But with Assassin's Creed, you get these cool weapons too. Like I really even like the Viking one. The Viking one was fun.
Oh, Valhalla. Valhalla was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It
And
was that was a
but
good
you know
time.
what I liked about those though is
Mm.
okay, you could always kill somebody in a different way. It wasn't always the same.
Right, right. And if you really want to have a good time with it, try walking in broad daylight behind a bunch of redcoats and stabbing them in the face. See
Yeah,
how long you stay alive.
yeah, exactly. Like
You know, and you blend.
right. And so, like to me, like games like that were like, yeah, no, that was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's hard to find games like that, unfortunately.
yeah. I mean, Ubisoft did good on that stuff, but they
Oh,
got. I think they lost it though with was it? It was the one with like multiple
yeah, they got a little
assassins.
greedy. They got
Yeah,
a little greedy, and they got a little like I don't know. I like the Egypt one to a point.
Origins.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it
But
was
like all
Syndicate.
things,
Syndicate was the one that got me, and I was like,
yeah,
this is dumb. This one's
y
really bad.
yeah. Well, I get what they're trying to do, but it's tough to make all those different. The authenticity of the time periods I thought were pretty good too, for the most part.
Yeah,
That's hard to do. That's
yeah,
not easy to do,
yep.
and it takes a lot of time and development and whatnot. Now, if you want to talk video games, I am a big zombie nerd.
Yeah.
State of Decay 2 is probably still when I still play it. I love that game.
Okay.
I'll never stream it because I suck at it, but it's a
Hey,
great game.
I actually have it. I actually have that one.
State of
It,
Decay 2 is a fantastic game.
yeah, I have. I haven't really played it too often though here recently. So
Oh man, it's so much fun. I love it. And when
I,
I need to vent, that's one of the best ways to do it because I know I'm not going to hurt anybody. And there's nothing quite like the sound of a skull being snapped by a baseball bat.
Uh, all
It's a
right,
fantastic sound.
nice.
Crunch.
See, I like Dead by Daylight, the one I've been streaming here
Yeah,
recently.
that's not a bad game. I just it's too creepy.
I like the creep factor. Like that's my thing. And
I can't.
then the fact that you get to be the hunter and you're hunting everybody else. And to me, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
They're coming out with a State of Decay 3 soon.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. I
I'm
can't
suck.
wait.
Yeah.
I've been
Okay.
waiting a long time for this game. It's been
So,
in development for a long time.
so then wasn't it Just Cause that did? No, no, I don't think it was Just Cause. There was another one that was a zombie game. You landed in an island.
I don't remember.
I don't think that was
I
State of
was a
Decay,
big
though.
fan of BioShock.
BioShock was a good one. Oh
That
God,
that whole series is fantastic.
yeah. What was there's another one though too that's like BioShock. Um,
Well, there's a bunch like BioShock, kind of.
yeah. Hey, you want to talk about a fun looter shooter game?
Hmm.
Borderlands.
Yeah, yeah, I dig
Bor-
it.
Borderlands was actually
The
good
movie was
too.
horrible, but the
Yeah,
game
the
was fun.
movie. Everything I've seen on it has been like no, but Borderlands and Borderlands 2, I loved it, especially like Sergeant Savage, I think was his name or whatever.
Right.
He's like explosion, like I loved that. Like that was fantastic to me. Uh, the creativity behind it, the comic book style artwork, like it was
Yeah.
just it to me like that was fantastic. I loved it. Then in comes other games like
Well,
m-
and that is the real rub with a lot of these games. They just don't have a long life cycle.
yeah, that's true.
Like I'll give you an example of one that has a really long life cycle that you either love it or you hate it. Rome Total War. Now this is an old school PC game, right?
Yep.
The idea is you play one of three different clans of the Romans, or you can play one of the barbarian horde things, which is kind of silly to me. But I love that game, and that game's probably 20 years old, 15 years old at least. I still play it. I still
Okay.
play it.
And space that would be spacecraft or Command and Conquer for me.
Oh, Command and Conquer. That's now you're talking real old school.
Yeah,
They still
yeah,
have big tournaments for that.
yeah. Spacecraft though too. Like they
Yeah,
did Spacecraft 2
like StarCraft and stuff. You're talking about?
or StarCraft. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
StarCraft.
I never got
Star-
into StarCraft because it's too expensive for me. I'm not paying all that money for stuff like that.
Oh, dude, I still will play StarCraft even today. I love that game. Um, and then but StarCraft was one of them, and Command and Conquer. Um, there's a couple other ones that were kind of Jagged Alliance.
Hmm.
Jagged Alliance was a tactical uh, turn-based game. That was one of my favorites. Yeah, or if you want to really talk about turn-based games, um, what was the Alien one?
Which one?
Oh gosh, it they
There's, I mean, I if you're going turn-based game, I'm going to talk about Civilization, Rise of Nations,
Civ was
another great
good.
game.
Yeah, Civ was good. Hold on though, but the one I'm talking about is XCOM.
Oh, okay. And XCOM 2 is even better. I play
Yeah,
XCOM still.
XCOM 2 is fantastic. XCOM Chimera, I played it. It's good. I don't the play style gets a little funky because you're talking about way future and now aliens and humans are fighting together against aliens.
Yeah, it's strange.
Yeah. But then you can go to XCOM Declassified, which happens years in the past before XCOM actually like the original XCOM actually took place.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a freaking great game. So we're getting like it's completely way off topic, but
Right. Sorry.
no, but I mean, I love it. Like,
Oh yeah.
I think this is, uh,
Those are the kind of games that you just don't see anymore. They don't make games like that, unfortunately.
no, no, not at all. And the people that do try to do it ruin it.
Right.
Like they
Or they
ruin the
don't.
genre.
Right. Like I hate 90% of the Star Wars games ever made. I am the original Star Wars super nerd. You know, I love Star Wars.
Right.
In fact, I got to meet the guy who played the original Chewbacca. What was
Oh,
that?
my dogs fighting. Oh, play fighting, but one of them probably hurt the other one by accident.
But like I got to meet the original Chewbacca in San Diego at Comic Con before he passed. That dude is big, like
Yeah,
tall, big,
but
stupid tall.
wasn't he 6'10"? Or
Something. He's close to 7 foot. He was
yeah,
huge.
yeah.
He actually lives in. He has a house. He's British, but he lived in Texas, which I thought was weird. He was the nicest guy too, really affable.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
Texas
but
is the biggest
I
state.
love me some. I love me some. The only people I think that did Star Wars well or right were Lego. Believe it or not, those Lego games, they're a blast. They're
Because
fun.
they're funny. They're
Yeah.
humorous the
And they
whole way
got
through.
humor. Most of them have some sort of humor in them, which is great
Yeah,
and I think useful.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's part of the. I think part of the problem is a lot of these games they want to be taken seriously, so they like beat the humor out of it, and that's just I don't get it.
That was one of the things I loved about Borderlands is like the humor was there all the whole way
Oh yeah,
through, and
yeah,
it's dark humor. It's not like this light like I'm gonna mind your feelings. Like no, it's like uh, here's a gun. It's shaped like a dildo, and we're gonna call it the blaster. It.
yeah. I ain't going there.
No, I don't have a problem with it. What do they
No,
got?
I get it. I get it.
So, but it was the humor was there,
Right.
and there was no filter, none whatsoever. It was fantastic. I loved
Yeah.
it.
I mean, those kind of games have their place, but
Yeah, yeah, and most of the people that love those games, though, I feel like have dark humor like we do.
oh,
Which,
you gotta have a little dark humor. It's good for you. I mean, you
yeah,
really do because if you don't, well, then
yeah, right.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, sucks to be you, I guess.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Sucks to suck. So yeah, any hoots. So another thing we were gonna talk about though, and this one might take up like the rest of our time.
Okay.
Uh and so we still have like 30 minutes. Um but let's talk about the VA and the good, the bad, the ugly, the do's and the
Where
don'ts.
to start?
Yeah. The,
What do you think of the VA?
let's see.
I'll let you say your piece and then I'll fill in the blanks where you're wrong. No, I'm kidding.
Well, here's the thing. I'm probably gonna hit a lot of nails on the head. Then I'm probably gonna say a couple things that
Well, how long have you been dealing with the VA? That's a better question to ask.
okay, so it took me roughly took me too long to actually get my benefits.
Right.
Um,
And that I don't blame on the VA. I blame that on the Army
yeah, probably.
because
Um,
that's who you should blame.
yeah. Um, then from there, though, it's the process. Everything that I said, like about the military, is hurry up and wait.
Yep.
It's the same thing, but 10 times worse for the VA.
Yep.
And it's
Picture the
like,
DMV with a double Q
yeah,
is
I-
what I tell everybody. And I
it-
always and not to cut you off, but anytime someone says we need socialized medicine, we need better healthcare, I tell them, why don't you pack a lunch, bring a bottle of water, and come sit with me one day when I go to the VA for my appointments,
yep,
and then tell me that's what you want because this is what you'll get.
yeah, exactly.
And people who say that have one never had to do it, or two have never been to a place like Canada where they already have it.
Yeah,
You know, you break
yep,
an arm in Canada, guess what? You're going to be sitting for a couple hours.
yep.
They're going to give you a little Motrin. They're going to say, it's okay, pumpkin. We'll get back to you.
Well, I mean, take like right now, for instance. Like right now, I'm going through whatever it is. I know it's got to be a pinched nerve because it hurts, right?
Right.
And it's causing like pressure and everything else all the way down to my fingertips. And you know, I was told by the ER a couple, uh, almost 2 weeks ago now, to no, it was almost. We're going on to 2 weeks to go get an MRI ASAP.
Right.
Okay.
So the ER is the non-VA ER, right?
Correct. Correct.
There, you need to make that distinction because there is a
It,
difference, right?
yeah. Yep. No, that's absolutely right.
Because
I
there's
do
a
need.
game they play.
So it was not the VA. It was the closest one. Well, one of the closest ones to the house.
Right.
I go in. They look at me. They try to get me all fixed up. Tell me that I need to get an MRI as soon as possible. To contact the VA as soon as or Monday comes around, and they give me a couple days worth of meds and send me about my way. Okay, cool. Call the VA. I'm like, hey, I need to get in stat. I got in, I think 2 days later. No, it was 3 days later. I got it. It called them on Monday. Got in on Wednesday. Um, and that was just because I was like, hey, look, this is going on. I need this done.
Right.
Because I was told it was TOS, which thoracic outlet syndrome supposedly could be really bad for your health, so on and so forth. Um, so, anyways, go up there. My doctor's like, nope, whatever they told you at the ER, wrong. We'll get you an MRI stat, and here's some meds. Sends me on my way. I have to go from the Garland VA. For those of you that don't know, I live in Texas. I'm back home in Texas, I should say. My closest VA is Garland one, and then there's the Dallas one, and then there's Bonham, which is about 30 minutes extra out of the way. So I go to the Garland VA. They tell me all this stuff, write me prescriptions, and then proceed to tell me that I have to go from the Garland VA to the Dallas VA to grab my prescriptions and to schedule my MRI. Fair enough. So drive the extra 38 minutes because of traffic to the Dallas VA. Then go to schedule my MRI, and they tell me my MRI is a month out.
Yep.
A month. You have to deal with the pain for a whole month before you can actually get.
And that's before they're going to even bother to see you.
Yes, and that's before they're going to try to figure out where the pain's coming from. So they give me all these pills. That's only supposed to be a week's worth of pills, and then tell me, hey, come back in a month. I'm already
Welcome to
having
the suck.
problems. Yeah, I'm already having problems. So I will say this much. In Des Moines, never had that problem.
Right.
Never. Florida, never had that problem.
Every state's different. This is the you want to talk about fun. Let's talk about fun for just a second with the VA.
Okay. Let's do it.
My wife and I were both vets. We're both Navy vets.
Yep.
We were living in Delaware, moved to Texas. The Texas VA could not see our documents from the VA in Delaware because they're not the same system. What? I don't understand. It
Same.
took 2
Yeah.
months, 60 days for them after a 10-minute phone call the first day that I found out about this. It took them 2 months to get the records released. Why?
Right.
What, they have to go find somebody in Tahiti or something? I don't understand. Here's another indication of how good the VA is. If you call an ambulance in the state of Texas and you let them know, and you should do this, by the way, and I'm not bad mouthing, I want to be serious. If you call the ambulance and they come to get you and they need to take you to a hospital and you tell them, hey, I'm a VA vet, I'm a vet, right?
Yep.
Do you think they're going to take you to a VA hospital?
Probably not. They're going to
not probably not. They will refuse to take you.
Yeah.
That's a fact. And I know this from firsthand experience because my wife's gone several times by ambulance. They don't care how close it is. They're not going there.
Yeah.
That's how much they care about using their stuff.
Yep.
That's not a made up story. That's not wishful thinking. That's procedure. They're like, yeah, no, we don't take you to the VA directly. They're like, if the VA wants to transfer you, then we'll come pick you up and take you there from that hospital to the VA. That's on the VA, but we're not taking you to the VA. Sorry.
Right.
And every single person that I've ever dealt with who's what I call a frontline worker, nurse, whatever, doc, and even some of the docs, they've all shook their head and said the same thing. If this was a civilian situation, you would not be waiting this long. It is ridiculous. It is unacceptable.
Yep.
That these people, and I say these people as in military folks, that these people have to wait the lengths of time that they have to wait to get help. It's insane.
Yeah.
And it's unacceptable. And I don't care what party you're in. I don't care what member of whatever organization you are. If you're in Congress, you're a senator, and I find out that you think the VA healthcare system's a good thing, you will never get my vote. Never. And every time I go over there, I say the same thing to these people. Y'all better pray I never won't run for public office. Because if they put me in, I'm shutting you down. The amount of money that the federal government wastes, and it is waste, absolute waste, on these people is insane.
Yeah.
For the piss poor job they do, I have no time for it. My hands are tied, though. We're stuck. We cannot not use the VA. I can't afford to not use it. And they know this. And that's why part of the problem is they just don't care, in my opinion. And it's not the frontline workers. I want to be very clear. They have great nurses. They have good, for the most part, good doctors, especially in the specialty clinics. It's the administrators. It's the people who run the show. And every one of them should be fired. All of them. There's not a single one that's an administrative leader that I've ever met that is worth the paper they're written on. Period. Full stop. Not that I'm biased or anything, but that's where I am with it. And I'll say it straight to their face. I do not care. Don't care. You don't scare me.
Yeah. No. So, and I will say this much though: at the Des Moines VA was on the spot always.
That's great.
Like, yeah. No. And
you're in BFE Des Moines.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. How many guys up? How many up there are vets? A couple hundred.
I mean,
maybe 10,000.
I mean, yeah, that's probably about
okay.
Accurate
I got that in one neighborhood in downtown Philly.
Oh yeah, no, but I'm just saying, like Des Moines was spot on. So like not every. So like you were saying, not every VA is.
No, they're all different.
But the Dallas, Texas one is the worst, and it's got
I've never
reputation.
Had a problem. I'll be honest. I've never had a problem with them. I've had better experience there than I ever did in Philadelphia than I ever did at Delaware, in Wilmington.
I've had better experiences in Iowa and in Florida.
Yeah.
And the Dallas one to me has always been like, hurry up and wait times 10.
Well, I think part of the problem for the Dallas VA is Texas, this particular area is one of the fastest growing areas in the country. And with that comes an influx of population that's unplanned for.
Right.
And when you have a large influx of population, you stress the resources that you have available. That's just that's I guarantee you that's their standard line to all media and all government officials.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we're stuck because we got so many new. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Do your job.
Okay, but now let's get into the do's and don'ts, though.
Okay, fair. Okay.
Yeah, let's do the do's and don'ts. Like I'm gonna say, like the biggest
Don't
do.
not show up for an appointment.
The biggest do though is definitely get your benefits.
Yes, do
Get
seek
your
out
benefits.
the veterans. I'll tell you what you should do.
A good VSO.
Go find a VSO. If you don't know what a VSO is, this is basically someone who has taken some training, who understands how to navigate the stupid system that is the federal government, in order to get your benefits to you. Don't let these and now I have a different perspective than you because I'm from the United States Navy and I was part of a pilot program when I was in the Navy. We do this out processing thing, right? When you're in your last month or so, but right before you get out, you go through a series of classes. And one of the classes that we had was a week long in this really nice place in San Diego. And they actually brought members of the VA in to the hospital area and they did examinations for you and they did all the testing for you. And they basically set you up to have your file for the VA completely done before you walked out the door as a military member. Now, not all branches do this.
No, Army doesn't.
I guarantee you the Army doesn't. Now, I know for a fact when I was in San Diego, there were Marines that were there with us because, they're actually part of the Navy, but don't tell them. They get a little cranky about that.
They're the redhead stepchilds.
They even had one or two Air Force guys there. But the bottom line is, do not let them off the hook because the VA is, whether you like it or not, they're part of the federal government. And the federal government's mentality is, if I put enough red tape around it, I'm going to save money. That's all they're trying to do.
Yep.
They're trying to outlast you in a lot of cases. And you got to be your own best voice, I guess you'd say. You got to be willing to do what you got to do to take care of you because no one's going to look out for you. And even the people who say they're looking out for you, I wouldn't trust them very far. I would trust, but I'd be using the Reagan mentality: trust but verify. Because I have been told such nonsense from these people from time. Oh well, you can't possibly get paid for that. Well, guess what? I did, because I went to somebody who knew what they were doing and they pushed it.
Right.
Don't think for a second that I went into the military and I came out unscathed. No, you didn't. I promise you got hurt at one point or another. Or you had something long-term that is affecting you possibly that you don't even know is affecting you yet. Yep. PTSD is a great example of this. They have and honestly, this is to their credit. They have revamped the way they deal with that now, right? They've upped the ratings. They've improved the standards for PTSD. And they've made it substantially better for those that suffer from it to get benefits. Go to the VA and put in. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
And I get into arguments all the time with people. They're like, well, I don't want to be a burden. What do you mean you don't want to be a burden? You served your country. You did your job. This is part of the contract you signed on to. Right. They owe you. This isn't you collecting something you're not owed. Okay. You did your time. You managed to come back and all that stuff. And now you got to deal with the fact that you went through all that.
Right.
And they have an obligation now to take care of you. Period. Yep. Full stop.
Yep.
And, whether you have a paper cut or, you're a lifelong member of the, I got, blasted and I have serious head trauma, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And it pains me when I see some of these guys because they feel bad about it. And some of them kind of feel embarrassed, I think, about it. And you shouldn't. You should not be sad or upset. You should be making them pay for you.
Yep.
And I'm not saying be wasteful. I'm not saying go in there and say, oh, I'm dying, but I'm not. If you need help, get it. That's what it's there for. That's why we pay taxes. That's why, they signed the contract to let you do what you did.
but not only that, there's more to it than that though. Like some of the injuries that you have, you may not be feeling yet.
Right. And
Like,
that's the other thing, especially if you're a young buck, right? You're a 20-something guy and you were a paratrooper, right? We all know what happens when you're a paratrooper.
mm-hmm.
Neck injuries, back injuries. Let me tell you something. You hit 50, Pumpkin, you're gonna feel it.
40.
You're well, okay, 40 even. I don't know. I don't remember my 40s. You get a little older, you start to feel that arthritis. I'm in my 50s and I've got significant arthritis as a result of the stupid stuff I did in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing I can do about it except for suck it up,
Yep.
And that's okay. I mean, but that's what they're there for.
And some of the stuff that, like, one of the things that, okay, here, sorry, had to run out doing some, just got home. Okay. You're good, Leo. You gonna jump in? We only got like 15, well, about 20 minutes almost.
You can tell your story about the VA.
Yeah, you can
with the rest
come talk to us about the VA stuff, man.
Oh, it's good times.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, no. What was I talking about? Jesus. I got sidetracked completely.
Getting paid by the VA for
Oh yeah, okay. So for I would, but the wife is trying to sleep. Never mind. Don't come talk to us. We don't want to talk anyways. Jeez.
It is what it is. It's all good.
No. So anyways, but yeah, get some of the smallest things that you would have never thought that you can actually get benefits for.
Yep.
Shin splints.
Shin splints is a big one. Sleep apnea.
Sleep apnea is another one. Yeah. But it's the little things that add up.
Oh yeah. And not only that, it's the little things that can really ruin your life long term too. I don't know about you. I struggle with sleep to begin with. I never slept before. I don't sleep now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gone to specialty clinics in the VA to try to get help with that because that's what I should do. And because my wife yells at me and says, "Why are you not talking to somebody about this?" Because I'm sitting here and you not sleep.
Right.
The mental health thing. And I'll tell you right now, I know a lot of people firsthand experience. They do not want to go and sit in group therapy. They don't want to see it. They think seeing a shrink makes them weak. They don't want to talk to anybody because they're like, if you weren't in the service, you don't understand. Let me tell you something. The VA, despite their many bad points, is fantastic at placing you with good therapists. They really are. That is something they've gotten really good with, and I'm thankful for that.
Yep.
Because a lot of guys need that.
Oh, I was definitely one of those guys.
And if you don't realize that you need it, you probably need it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you don't think you have PTSD, I bet you do.
Yeah.
If you saw any kind of and look, I'm not trying to disparage anyone's service here. If you saw any kind of combat time of any sort or other, right? If you saw anything that was crazy, you probably need a therapist.
Yep.
You probably need to at least take the PTSD test for it.
Mm-hmm.
Let them make the determination. So you were saying do's and don'ts. Let's go big don't. Do not tell them the stuff that's going on. Let them say no is what I'm getting at. Make them say no.
Yep.
Tell them that you're feeling this or you're doing that. And, ask them, is this normal or not? And anytime someone tries to give you a prognosis, immediately we do the Navy way, right? I know you're not Navy, but you can do it too, Pumpkin. It's easy. Navy way is simple. If it ain't written down, it didn't happen.
Yep.
Right? So you say to them, can you put that in writing, please? And when they do, then you say, now, I would like a second opinion. And they're going to look at you like, no. And then you're going to go, yes, because that's my right.
Yep.
And that ends that conversation really fast.
Yep.
They ain't going to like it, and they're going to try to talk you out of it, but don't let them do that to you because they're just trying to, a lot of times they're trying to placate you and get rid of you because there are so many people they got to deal with.
Yeah.
And understand this, if you're new to the VA, it's going to take a while to get in the system.
And it does.
And it's going to be painful and annoying and frustrating, but don't give up. Don't quit. Don't not show up.
Yes.
If you have a CMP thing, you best be there.
Yep.
And if you're, and look, and I'm not trying to tell anybody how to live their life, but if you're one of those people who uses a certain herb, okay, if you know what I'm talking about, and it's not prescribed to you, because guess what? The VA does prescriptions for it now. And you got testing that you got to do yourself a favor. Just try to lay off of it till you can get through that as much as you can. I know that a lot of people self-medicate, and I get it. I do. But you got to look out for yourself first. You got to take care of yourself, because you are the one that is ultimately going to pay the price if you don't.
And, and they will. The good thing is now that they do prescribe it.
Yep.
They will usually look over it.
Yeah. Know this. It's not an automatic dismissal anymore.
Yeah.
It's not oh, well, you use that, so you're disqualified. That's not how this works. And it's not a gotcha thing either, by the way.
Yep.
They want to know where you are. They want to know where you're at mentally and psychologically and physically. And, it's important to be honest with these folks.
Yep. Absolutely.
And if you're one of those people who are taking harder drugs, I would encourage you to seek help for that. I understand it. I get it. I understand why people would do it. I just think that there are other ways.
Yeah.
You don't have to self-medicate. You don't have to medicate that way.
So how do you feel about Leo's comment, though? They broke it, they buy it.
Well, he's right. Look, every single member of the United States military signed a contract that said, I am willing to bleed for this for X amount of years. I'm willing to become basically property to the government, with the understanding that when I get out, you're responsible for my care.
Yep.
That's part of the contract. Don't let them out of their contract. They wouldn't let you out of yours, because I guarantee you there was a point where you were like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I don't know a single soldier that didn't have a doubt at one point or another while they were in the service, especially during boot camp.
Yep.
There's that one point that they call it, in the Navy, we call it the point of no return, where you hit the button and that's it. You're in.
Yeah.
You're not leaving now, I guarantee you everybody goes through that. Everybody. I don't know a single person that hasn't.
The Army. Okay, so I was a drill sergeant in the Army before I went SF. And I'm a little guy, so think about that.
Well, those are the scary ones.
Exactly. So, but in the Army, I don't know how they do it across other branches, but in the Army, basic training, week 1, okay, week 1 is your only get out of jail free card.
Yep.
If within the first week you say, I'm not doing this, I don't want to do this, you can get out scotch free.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
We can go further than that. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it's Hell Week. Hell Week is the week for the Army. If you say within the first week, I can't do this, I want out, they will send you home.
Yeah.
Scotch free. They'll pay for your flight back home and everything. There's no harm, no foul. Anything past that, though, you're in. Yeah.
I mean, they invest the money to train you.
Yeah.
They put the time in. They're going to want to get something in return, and I understand all that. I get annoyed because a lot of times these guys, they feel bad. They feel like, oh, I'm not broken. I'm not really broken. I'm just a little hurt. Because I'm sure you've heard this one, right? There's a difference between being injured and being hurt.
Yeah.
Right? Your body will tell you the difference.
Yep.
I used to hate that when someone says something stupid like that to me. I'm like, look, I will walk through a plate glass window if that's what you tell me I got to do, but you better be believing you're going to be paying the hospital bill when I get out.
Right. So check out this one's actually really accurate, though, from Super Wolf. Some MOSs cost so much more than others.
Oh, so true. I was an electronics technician. My first 2 years was just going to school.
Yep. Yeah.
You know how much they bump you up with training, and especially if you're an SF guy, if you're a special forces person, they're literally spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on you.
Oh, more than that. You're tapping into $1 million.
It's a stupid amount of money.
Yeah.
Because of the training.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And the facilities, and just feeding you guys is a stupid expensive because you guys are piggies. Y'all eat more than anybody I've ever seen in my entire life. And I played rugby.
Why do you think I'm a tub now, man?
Tub. Whatever. My big toe weighs more than you.
Oh shit! I surprised some people.
Mm.
But no, like it's true though. Like and then, um, what was this? I tried to bird class crypt. What? To crypto?
Cryptology. Yeah.
Oh, cryptologist. Yeah,
Yeah, those guys go to the Dell Labs and stuff in Monterey.
sending long message. Why did it say that? Anyways, my
It's just a default thing.
yeah, my mod. Don't send long messages, Leo.
The drunken mod got mad again.
But yeah, no. So, I don't know. How long? Hey, baby, how long did you have before you could say you wanted to get out when you went into the
Week
military?
the Navy's usually week 9 of boot camp. It's right before the end of boot camp.
Week 9?
It's close to week 9.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's stupid actually, because you basically spend almost 2 months there, and then they basically pull you in a room and say, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Because
Yeah.
once you come out of this room, that's it. You're done. You're doing it.
Okay.
So when I went to boot camp, I was a little older than the average fella.
Oh, yeah, but you still. We're talking about when you first joined. For because Daddy Bro's saying that week 9. If you would have said you
Yeah,
wanted out
up
by
to
week
week
9,
9, you can get out.
you can get out of the Navy.
Or at least that's when I was in.
Oh, okay.
That may have changed.
I
They
don't know.
change it all the time.
Yeah.
So I had this situation, and towards the end of my quote unquote boot camp, now I was older than everybody. Like I was older than the drill instructors. Old.
I was the
And
youngest.
they found out that I had college under my belt. So they pulled me into a back room and had a little conversation with me, and they were going over my work history and stuff, and they're like, "You ran restaurants and you did this, and why are you not in OCS?"
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to pull me out of boot camp as an enlisted man and take me to OCS, and I told them where they could stick it. I said, "I've been the boss, and I don't believe in working from the top down. I believe in working from the bottom up."
Right.
Because my long-term goal, I wanted to become a warrant. I wanted to become a warrant officer, and that kind of thing.
See,
Well, that didn't happen.
Yeah, I was the youngest, but I was already had college credits, and they were like, "Oh, if you would have, gotten a few more credits, you could have actually just done OCS." No, I'm infantry. What am I going to do OCS for anyway?
Right?
Like
Nothing like a little coffee.
Yeah, right. I get to have coffee before I go out with a
Don't
rucksack.
forget to extend the pinky.
Yeah.
And look, and I'm not going to dog on officers because my father-in-law was lieutenant colonel in the Rangers. I love the guy, but he's a cricket stomper. What does he know?
Yeah, I mean, paper pushers.
Well, he wasn't. He was never a paper pusher. I don't think he was always in the field.
I feel like there's a lot more paper pusher officers than there are.
Oh yeah,
else, so.
especially in the Navy. They're
Yeah.
a dime a dozen.
Yeah,
and they're obnoxious about it, which is even more worse.
very
And what I always enjoyed as an enlisted man was they didn't. A lot of times when I was at different commands, they had no idea what my educational background was.
Yeah.
And I would sit there at the chow hall reading, some sort of crazy poetry or some sort of Shakespearean stuff, and they would just kind of look at me like, "You're an ET3. Why are you reading that?" What? Because I'm an ET, I can't read? I forgot. I'm supposed to be a dummy.
I could have done. I could have done anything. Like they told me, they're like, "Here's the whole book. You can choose any job in there," and I was like, "Well, they told me, and let me make sure you get it in writing from your recruiter before you join it."
Yeah, don't
anything.
believe. Look, recruiters.
They're good car salesmen.
Have you ever gone and tried to buy a car?
They're good car.
And I would encourage you to go to the used car lot first.
Yes.
That's what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I will say this about the Navy, and I can't speak to other branches because I didn't join them. The Navy actually puts it in writing exactly what you're going to be doing. Exactly. They tell you your job. They tell you how long your school's going to be. They even tell you where your C school is going to be 9 times out of 10. It's crazy how in depth they go. Now the catch is you can't fail any tests.
Mhm.
You can't pop on a drug test. There's a lot of can'ts there.
Yep.
And if you so much as sneeze wrong, they're going to send you quad zero to the fleet and you're going to be chipping paint for the next 6 years.
Yep.
So be careful
Yeah.
and realize that.
So they told me, because I went to the Air Force originally. I wanted to be a pilot, not
Mhm.
realizing at the time I loved Top Gun. Okay, and Top Gun. I know now how dumb I was at 17 years old.
Yeah,
I
the greatest
just turned
recruiting tool ever.
yeah. I just turned 17. Okay, 16 just turned 17.
Mm-hmm.
And 9/11 happened, and I wanted to be a pilot.
Okay.
Okay, go into the recruiting station for the Air Force, and I'm like, I want to be a pilot. They're like, fantastic. We'll send you to college. It'll take you about 16 years once you get your degrees and everything like that. Then we'll put you in an aircraft. Okay.
Yeah.
So I walk out, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to go Air Force. I would have been smart sticking with the original plan.
Yep.
But instead, I walk into a Army recruiter that's, as soon as I walked into him, I'm like, "Oh, excuse me, sir." And he's like, "Don't call me sir. I work for a living."
Yeah. He's
That
not. He's not an officer.
that should have been
Should have
number
told
1.
you.
Yeah, number 1 right there. Don't listen to this guy. So, anyways, I told him I wanted to be a pilot, and he's like, "Oh, come in here." I was like, "All right." So sit down. He shows me this video with AC/DC Hell's Bells playing in the background. I
Mhm.
remember it to this day. The Apache helicopter flying through smoke with the smoke zooming around
It's so
the
pretty.
fan. Yeah, it looks badass, and all the loop. Oh, good, it looked amazing. He's like, I can get you in one of these in 16 months.
Liar.
Fantastic, sign me up. All right, so we go down, take the ASVAB, and do my physical and everything like that. I get in there, and they're like, "You could do any job in that book." And I looked at the guy directly to his face, and I told him, I was like, "My recruiter said I could be a pilot," and he goes, "You can do anything except for that. We don't have any slots for that."
Yep. And that's the way all branches are, though. It's always needs of the branch.
Yep. And I was like, okay, well, he's like, "Here's a book. Go through it." So you flip it through this binder, and at 17 years old, I'm looking at money, 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 money. Oh, this one's got the highest one. I'll do this one. Didn't look at the brand or what the job, nothing. He's like, "Oh, 11 Bravo, got it. Infantry." I was like, "Yeah, infantry. What's infantry?" He's like, "Bang, bang, shoot him, blow him up, kill, dead." I
Yeah.
was like, "That's it. That's what I want to do then."
Better
And
you
so
than me. All I can say about all that.
I was an idiot, is what I was, because I
Well,
did.
look, you were young, and this is,
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I get it. I was young and stupid, but at the same
I
time,
wouldn't go that far.
I wouldn't change any of it though.
I
It
mean,
made it made me into the man I am now,
there you go.
and
And the thing about the service too is it. And I'll tell you another thing too. If you're young and you're thinking about joining, listen to your senior non-officers,
yeah.
the chiefs, the petty officers, in your case, your first sergeant, your
Yep.
sergeants, the people that have been there for a little bit of time. Because
Mhm.
these men and women are not going to they're not going to stare you wrong. They're going to tell you, "Hey, save your money. Don't go
Yeah.
to the club.
Yes.
Get in school while you're in the service.
Yep. They're gonna
You
tell
can
you
do
do all.
so much for yourself." No,
Don't
don't
listen
listen
to
to the
the
first
first and
sergeant.
sergeants.
Okay, well, maybe not the first sergeant, but you get what I'm saying. The
Um,
bottom line is you can do a lot. We have a saying in the Navy, choose your rate, choose your fate, right?
right.
If you go in and you're like, I'm gonna be a bosun's mate, okay, there's a reason we call them knuckle draggers. You're gonna be chipping and painting, and you're gonna be swabbing decks, and you're gonna be heaving around on lines. That's what you're gonna do. And if
Yep.
that suits you, great. If you're more technical, you can become an electronics technician or an IT, an information systems guy. There's
Mhm.
all kinds of different roles. If you're one of those touchy-feely peeps that really want to help, you can become a corpsman. You know, there is a place for everybody in the military,
Yep.
provided you have the chops to do it.
And yeah. That's
But
the
I'll
thing.
tell you right now, if I knew then what I know now, I would have gone Air Force all the way every day.
Yep.
Why? They eat better. They live in better quarters. Their life is just better.
They're treated better.
The only people in the Air Force really that are put in harm's way intentionally are the flight crew.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're not part of flight, you're in the rear with the gear.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that's like, well, that just makes you a coward. No, that's a super important job. It's hugely important. Everybody has a role. I'm just saying, why would you intentionally risk yourself if you don't need to?
Yeah.
And still have the same benefits and still have the same outcome.
Yeah.
Right. And still support is still support. Yep.
Yep. Exactly.
And without it, we can't do what we do. Right.
Yep.
My role was I was an electronics technician. If I didn't do my job, they didn't have comms in country. Do you know what happens to teams that don't have comms? They don't live very long.
Yep.
That's just the truth. And it's one of those things, man. If I knew what I know now, I would so be an Air Force guy. And I dog the Air Force probably more than the Coast Guard.
Because I wouldn't go so far.
Easy. I dog them because in the Air Force, and I don't know if this is still the case. I don't know if the Navy's changed this policy or not. But in the Air Force, you used to be able to take your test by riding a fitness bike.
Yeah.
We couldn't do that. We had to swim it or run it. I always swam it because I'm a fat guy and I'm not running.
Army was okay. So the only reason you would ever use a fitness bike is if you had a profile. If you had profile, if you're part of the profile mafia, then you rode on the bike.
Profile.
You had, otherwise you had to run. If you had a permanent profile, exactly, you could use the bike. With a no run profile. They did have swim up. So what was that? I think in 2010,
right,
or somewhere in there, like towards the end of the 2000s, they changed it to where there's a swim if there is a pool provided.
Well, don't think for a second swim's easy because it's not.
No, and it's really not. It's much harder than the run, from what I heard.
Yeah, you better know how to swim.
Yeah.
I'm part goldfish, so I did okay on it. But
yeah, so I always did the run, and it wasn't until after I got shot that I couldn't do the run anymore.
Right.
So I was like, and they're like, "Yeah, we got to let you go," and I'm like, "Well, shit,
stuff happens."
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, I think we're gonna wrap it up right about here. What do you think?
Yeah. Sounds good to me, man.
Yeah,
it was a good talk. And I would greatly listen. I will encourage you this way: if you're a vet and you don't have VA stuff, you're wrong. You need to get right with it. And the way you do that is you go to your local VA. I would encourage you to talk to someone in the American Legion, the VFW, any of these veteran associations. Now, I will say this: you should not pay someone to get your stuff, right? Unless
you absolutely have to.
You've been denied and you've gone to court over it or something like that. If you have a really complicated case where if you got an honorable discharge, you should be going through one of these organizations to help you out. Period. Mm-hmm. Full stop. That's what you should do. If you can't, you get with other people that are vets like you. You can't, give me a call. Give Knight a call. We know people.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people in the VA system that can help you.
Yep.
Go to your local VA. Go online to the VA site and check it out. It is not. They have really made it easy. And I don't care when you served. I don't care if you served during combat times. If you served in the 80s, guess what? You still served.
Yep.
If you are a Vietnam, especially if you're older and you're a Vietnam vet, especially, you need to go talk to somebody. I don't care if you spent one day in country. You need to talk to somebody.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of benefits for you guys. Yeah. And there should be.
Absolutely.
And
them and then there's there's Desert Storm also, those.
Yeah. They've really changed that a lot too.
Yep.
So if you served in any capacity and you, especially if you were in country, you need to talk to somebody. Absolutely. And if you haven't had your stuff evaluated in a long time, I'm not saying get reevaluated because that can be a double-edged sword. But what I am saying is look into it.
Yep.
See if you qualify.
Absolutely.
And if you don't know, get a social worker, talk to them about it, tell them what's going on, and see if you qualify. You know, because they will help you out, and it's really good for you.
Absolutely. So,
Anyway,
all right. Well, with that, I'm
got
gonna
me all round up already. Woo.
yeah, we're getting you ready for your next one, man. Getting you ready for your next one. So, anyways, all right. Well, with that, of course I'm gonna offer this up because I'm that person. If you are thinking about unaliving yourself at all and you are a veteran, 988 press 1, call somebody. I don't care if you message me, you can message Daddy Bro. We are on Twitch. Okay. You can find us there. Message us. We'll get you our Discord. Come talk to us. We'll talk to you.
Yep.
I'm totally fine with talking to people. I'm not always the most friendliest person. I do have a dark sense of humor, but there's that. But I'll definitely talk to you. But I will get you into contact with somebody that can help you, like for real help you. If I can't. So it is a must that you do this because the last thing I want to do is I'd much rather. What is that saying that I saw this too recently too? That I'd much rather be carrying the weight of your problems than carrying the weight of your casket.
That's right.
So
That's a good way of looking at it too.
yeah. So, anyways, get help. Get help, Daddy Bro. I know this is his thing. So
Yep.
I'm gonna let him do his little spiel before we get out of here.
All right, guys. As always, make sure you get yourself something good to eat. Get yourself something good to drink. Hug the people in your life because you never know how long you're going to have them. And last but not least, if you need help, get help. Getting help does not make you weak. It, in fact, makes you strong. Have a blessed night. That's all I got for y'all.
Yep. Y'all have a good one. Take
See you
care.
now.